Hi, folks. Today I'm going to talk about self-esteem and how to increase your self-esteem by being three key aspects that I see with self-esteem. And in this whole lecture series I'm going to do probably in the next month or month two is about increasing your self-esteem and being self-motivated. In the first one, there's three key aspects that I think that are important to increase your self-esteem. Is one, and I'll discuss each of these three key aspects as we move on. As the first one is be yourself, and the other one is have high integrity and do not compromise your standards. And the third one is be positive, open minded about your what you're attracting, because these are three key aspects to increase your self esteem and increase your self motivation. Though mainly this is about self esteem, but in my view, self esteem and motivation almost goes side and side. Now, the first one, and we'll go back to this, is be yourself and genuine. I see many examples, and I saw this myself when I was younger, and I think sometimes this has to do with people as they're younger and when they're younger. Is you got to be yourself and be genuine. If you come across the people, is you're not being genuine, you're not being yourself, this is going to be a red flag to a lot of people. One thing that I always say when I talk to people is because of the fact that I'm a psychologist, is I always like to connect the dots. So if I start a conversation with somebody, and during that conversation, I'm able to connect the dots with that person. Now, if I'm not being able to connect those dots, then I get this suspicion that the person's not being genuine and not being themselves. I don't fault that individual, and there may be other reasons why that occurs, but the point is you have to be yourself and be genuine. A good example of this, I always say, is somebody like a Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, for instance. If they ended up working hard in the field, but they were also genuine and they wanted to be themselves. Somebody in the business field that I admire would have been Steve Jobs, who even himself, would always be himself and genuine, even though he sometimes came across to his employees as being very brazen and very outspoken. He was always genuine and he was always being himself. And that's a key aspect of anybody that wants to increase their self-esteem, is you first got to be genuine and be yourself. The second aspect of this is you have to have high integrity and you can't compromise your standards. I see this a lot with people when they start dating somebody that is not compatible to their standards, or somebody that lowers their standards. I've done this numerous times when I was younger, that I lowered my standards to date somebody, or I would, and I have this thing about an inner circle of friends and then an outer circles of friends. And this inner circle, they have to have high standards or have high moral character to be within that inner circle. And if they're not in that, I really keep them to that outer circle of influence, because it's really critical to always have this value of high morals, high standards, because when you start compromise your morals and your values, you have problems. And then when you start with this also helps with your self-esteem. So if you set that bar high for your values and your standards, and then though as you're moving right up the ladder, that self-esteem grows because you're having those high standards and high value. I always say to somebody, if they say they have an issue about ethical issues, then they need to keep their values high. And the third issue is you got to be positive and be open-minded about things. And being positive and being open-minded. I know a lot of people, for instance, I've seen people who have negative thoughts or wake up on the wrong, quote unquote, the cliche, wrong side of the bed because they think they're going to have a bad day. If you think you're going to have a bad day, you're going to have a bad day. If you think positive and say, I'm going to have a good day, you're going to have a good day. It's all about this positive mindset. And with this positive mindset, you're able to open those laws of attraction about how to create a more positive environment in your life. I talked to somebody about a week ago. A friend of mine came over and was asking some questions about how to deal with somebody. And the issue was you have to take into account you don't let that individual influence your positive behavior or your positive influence. In other words, what you do is and it's like I've said before, you have the inner circle of friends and then you have that outer circle of influence. So the goal here is to always create this positive influence, because once you create that positive influence, you create that laws of attraction, or what I call that 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 the thing of being abundant. The issue is always be open to the possibility of things and be grateful in that. And that's my final point on that, is you've got to always be grateful uh, to the opportunities that come upon you. And I think a lot of people, and I found myself doing this sometimes as well. For instance, I was doing a lot of data collection this week. And even though it was hard, like today, I told myself, well, I was going to take the day off and not do data collection. And then I decided last night, no, I'll work for half a day, do data collection, and then I'll work and then I will take tomorrow off. The key was I made an extra like 3 or 4 contacts, because the fact of the matter was I was able to create that possibility or that positive influence on it. So then when I think about it at the end of the day, then I can say, yes, that was an impact. Now, the issue that comes with me is the fact, even though I have this positive outlook and open-minded about things, I have to always be abundant and be grateful of what I accomplished during the day. So with that said, let me repeat the 3 aspects. The first one is be yourself and genuine. And that is key. That's the foundation. Because to really be positive and to create a self-esteem, you create that opportunity because you're being genuine, you're being yourself, and that opens you up to more people. The second one is have high integrity and do not compromise your standard or values. Like I said, people have this tendency, and normally this happens in dating relationships, where they lower their standards because they really want to date this person. The point is we attract what we desire. In other words, even though we would desire this, we may attract it, but we may not be able to deal with it. So we have to have those higher standards and not compromise on those standards. For instance, say you're dating somebody that smokes and you don't smoke, and you say, well, I'm going to date them anyway. But there again, you're lowering your standards. So if you start lowering those standards, then you're compromising your standards. So, and for instance, I like to be around people that are family oriented and very positive. Well, if I hang around with somebody that's not positive or not family oriented, then I'm compromising my standards and my values, because that's not what I envision or whatever. And the third thing I always like to say about the standards thing is I always keep in my mind what I envision myself, because I see myself at a higher cause in helping others. And then those people, do I want to be around people that are going to hinder where I want to be, or are they going to help me where I want to be? And so I envision what these people are. So that is key in the aspect that you have to be able to not compromise your values and standards. And thirdly, and like I said, and I hate to be redundant, is you got to be positive and open-minded, because when you're this way, you're open to laws of attractions and laws of abundance. If you don't be positive, you might miss out on something, because what we attract is what we get. So if we're negative, we're going to get those negative vibes and negative people. If we're positive and open to the situation, we will be able to create those positive vibes and those positive people. Anyway, I usually like to keep my videos somewhere around 10 minutes, a little over that, because just the way it was. So anyway, I do have a seminar tomorrow on time management. 7 to 8 o'clock. It's on Eventbrite. If you want to do that, that's, like I said, that's available. And secondly, please, 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 hit the like button and subscribe to my videos. Like I said, every other day during the week, I make them. Normally, they'll be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Anyway, thank you, folks, and enjoy your weekend. And talk to you real soon. Thanks.